This is Maharajas of Scale, a podcast where we go behind the scenes and talk to founders who are demolishing the myths around building and scaling a big business in India. These are the stories that have shattered the assumptions around Indian consumers and are changing the game completely. I am Krishna Jonakadla, serial entrepreneur, co-founder of Flit, the fashion locator in town, and startup mentor, bringing you these stories. Hey everyone, this is Krishna from Maharajas of Scale. Today we are talking to Pratik Shah of SpecsMakers. They say hindsight is 2020. I've never heard anybody say foresight is 2022. Maybe when foresight becomes hindsight, it becomes 2020. But here's Pratik Shah, who's helping people fix their current sight, not foresight or hindsight. One of the largest optical chains in South India, scaled it to hundreds of stores across the country. Pratik, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Krishna.
So Pratik, how did you end up being an optician? I know a cousin who studied to be an optician and today she's an accountant.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks for personally inviting me for this session. And I'll take you through my journey of, being an optician and how did I become an optician. But it's more by accident than by decision, right? So being a person born and brought up in Chennai, pursued my engineering, did my graduate in Chennai, moved to the US, did my MBA. Passion was to be an investment banker, more of a number crunching guy, wanting always to kind of work on the stock trading firm, and that kind of made me become a derivative analyst with Morgan Stanley. It was a short stint for about 3 months. US was not my kind of place. I was never enjoying work in the US. I'm more of a family guy who likes to be with family. Wanted to come back to India, so decided to move back post my graduation. Came down to India in December 2003 and landed up a job with a small startup which was into knowledge process outsourcing as an equity research analyst. And basically it was just me, my boss sitting out of New York, and my colleague sitting out of Bangalore. So I used to basically have a work from home culture back in 2003. So what I see today of co-working spaces was just a more a larger than life picture, and at that point in time we were just working out of home. So I basically used to track a lot of equity research markets, looking at the telecom and the retail sector. I used to write buy-side reports for companies, learned a bit of financial modeling. It was great honor to work along with two IIM guys at that point in time, because you tend to learn a lot from your seniors. So I was kind of just creating financial models, listening to a lot of CFO and CEO calls on Moody's and S&P, doing Q&A sessions with CEOs on what their projections are and what. So really enjoying the work, working from home, had a very flexible life then, But I was not more of a corporate Citibank or a top-end corporate culture kind of a guy. I always kept myself to myself, and I thought, okay, it's better to work in a small company than be a small fish in a large company. So I wanted to kind of continue that. My family hails from the optical business. Fortunately, my granddad used to work as an accountant with one of the optical stores in Chennai that is still also available. In 1958, he joined as an accountant when he moved back from Gujarat, and he had 3 sons, my father being the eldest. So he basically, a typical ideology Gujarati family, got his children into the business, and my dad moved into wholesaling of optical lenses, having a shop in Chennai where I used to be a very unorganized mom and pop wholesaler, supplying glasses to only lenses basically. It used to be glass lenses then, to all the local retail mom and pop stores in the city. And people used to come down from Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Andhra to come and buy lenses from him. So he used to be a distributor basically. Very unorganized business, nothing great about it. It's a 9 to 10 kind of a job, Monday to all 7 days a week. I used to never see him also a lot of times. And he was very keen that I should not be a part of the business because this is a very kind of, it drains you out end of the day, right? You have to be at a wholesale shop the whole day. And there were never systems and processes then. So you never take holidays, you never take family breaks. He never used to take us out because he always felt that he has to be at the shop because you don't want things to go wrong without you not being there. Typical Indian middle class business family mindset, right? I will open the shop, I will close the shop. If I'm not there, I'm sure some pilferage is happening at the shop. So that's how the entire mentality of the family and the business was. And yeah, I was also happy with my job, wanted to continue doing what I'm doing, But I don't know how it happened. My dad So decided to basically start off a retail shop, because optical retail is more about a retirement business for the elderly. If you have one shop, you can open from morning 9 to 3, go for a lunch 3 to 5, come back and open 5 to 9, Sunday holiday. All that you have to sell is 2 pair of glasses a day and you're happy, right? Because that's what people are. Independent opticians do that, right? The thesis was that if I keep my customer happy, my customer will keep coming back to me. It is always about, even if if you ask your dad, he'll be like, I went to my family optician, which is a Krishna optical or a Saraswati optical or whatever, because everybody wanted to buy glasses in their neighborhood, in their vicinity. So my dad also decided to open up an optical shop, make it very small. He said, okay, I will enjoy doing this business. You're not going to be a part of the business anyway, so you can continue your corporate ladder. I said, yeah, works for me. I mean, I'm happy about it. It was very unfortunate in the October of 2005. I remember the date, October 23rd, also very well. I had come down from Bangalore, and I was just kind of out with my dad and mom in the car, and he started having a bit of a blood oozing out of his nose and mouth, and he had already signed up a store, and the store was supposed to open on October 23rd. And this happened on October 21st, 2 days before the store opening. Just imagine, he signed up the store in May, until October he's not opened the store. It's one store, right? He's getting the interior done, because first time they're opening a store, right? And not that it was like a large format store or something. So he started having a lot of blood oozing out of his mouth. So I asked him, what happened? What's the issue? Why are you kind of having this blood oozing out of your mouth? He said, no, it's nothing, it's just sometimes my blood pressure rises up, and this, I don't know, it's happening the first time. So I kind of rushed him to the hospital. I rushed him to the hospital immediately, and then I kind of realized that his BP had shot up to about 300 plus. Okay, and that was kind of a panic attack for me, because what worried me is that, my dad never takes stress. He's a very conservative, composed, calm guy who does not really take any aggressive measures. Very conservative, very contented. He's not going to take that extra one step for risk also in his life. And he's like that. So as soon as I took him to the hospital, doctor said that his, BP is shot up very badly. He needs to be hospitalized, and it's into a critical care unit, because if you guys had waited for a couple of hours more, maybe things would have gone worse. So I said, yeah, please do the needful, and immediately just got him admitted. And he was more concerned about 2 days later, there's a store opening. He's called a lot of his friends and guests and everybody for the store opening. What is he going to do? I said, don't worry, I'll kind of just go to the opening. It's not rocket science, right? But obviously, you don't want people to see me at the store, because I'm an educated MBA from the US, typically, hi-fi guy. That's what the perception of the people is. And he didn't want me to even be a part of the business, because that's what his thesis was. So anyway, I said, okay, don't worry. I'll just go until you get back in 1 week. I'll just go open up the store. I never knew anything about selling glasses. I knew what is a glass. I knew what is a frame, but I never knew anything about selling glasses. That was not my USP at all. He had already hired 2 manpower of people. So I had to just go sitting at the cash counter, counting the cash and putting it and tallying the accounts. And I had my laptop with me. So I was continuing doing my equity research from the office. It was a small showroom. So an optical business is not like, you have customers the whole day. It's business is only in the evening 5 to 8. The whole day you're pretty much free. So actually that gave me a lot of time to do my work, and at the same time learn another business which was optical. Thanks to Google, thanks to Alibaba at that point in time. Alibaba was a new entrant in the Indian market. Learned a lot of business from Alibaba at that point in time, from Google also. But somewhere the equity research in me kind of helped me out a lot, because you know how to dig information.
Were you doing the equity research job and also doing this at the same time, or?
Yes.
Okay.
I was basically doing my equity research from the showroom, and also basically attending to customers. I mean, I've done some crazy things while attending customers. Didn't know anything about glasses, sold the wrong power to people, sold different glasses to people, never knew anything, right? A lot of errors and mistakes, and you learn from your mistake. Got into it. Being an equity research analyst, you know how to dig information about any industry. You know how to find information. Started studying a lot of case studies about companies around the world, what is happening, how are they expanding, how are they scaling. Until then, I was not even interested in the industry, but I was just researching as a part of my hobby. And it just happened that I started seeing that where am I and where this industry is like miles and miles away. The opportunity is like crazy. It's like the first guy who understood what email is going to be, and bang on, he started Hotmail, right? So I said, okay, this is a great opportunity you want to get into. But I went and spoke to my dad. Look, I like this industry. And I started enjoying attending to customers. So I started enjoying retail. And I was not very bogged down about being at the showroom from morning 9 to 9, not being able. Yeah.
It is like rescuing a damsel in distress. You figure out that she was married and she's got a family, and then there is unbounded opportunity, and you transition from this numbers
Absolutely.
world to a
Yeah.
people world.
I would rather say more of love at first sight, because when you start attending to different kind of customers every day, you tend to learn so much from each consumer, right? And consumer research is one of the best things to do in this world, because you get to meet different people every day. One is, why do people love to travel? Because they like to see different places. Retail is all about meeting different customers every day. And I really enjoyed that opportunity. And every customer who walked into the store had only one question: if you've studied so much, why are you at the store? Very
It's weird. In Bangalore, there is this Avenue Road, Chickpet, BVK Anga Road area,
Yeah.
which is home to lots of wholesale businesses.
Yeah.
And it is, some people who know that area well, no matter what they shop for, they would go there. And it was my mom that actually introduced me to that area, that part of Bangalore. And what would happen is, in spite of living in the US for over a decade, if I needed something, I would go there. And every time I go there, the amount of buzz, the energy, and the amount of business that happens there always used to energize me. And I would say, this is fabulous. And my wife would turn around and tell me, you're perhaps one of the few people who's traveled the world, who's lived abroad for such a long time, and notices the buzz. You're perhaps a rare person who tells me that energizes me. You ignore all the other, the ramshackleness of the place, the infrastructure.
You can't even put your step in the right place over there. Like that, you have a similar area in Chennai called Saukarpet, right?
That's right.
You'll have like people just having stuff kept on the road. You'll have to find you actually have to find the tar. You can't see the road also. You have to kind of.
So that makes it two of us. I get energized by customer contact, and I love it. There's
not only that, you see the buzz of business that they do, and everything is without systems and processes. It's all in the mind.
I know.
And the guy, even after a week, you see him, he'll know how much do you owe him and what did you buy last week. That's how they know their customers so well.
Yeah, what better than a Gujarati to tell all that?
Yeah. So, I kind of went and spoke to my dad that, I like this business. I want to be a part of it. My dad is like, look, I didn't create this for you. So please step out. I'm fine now. I'm going to start coming to the store in the next 1 week. So I said, okay, fine. Doesn't really matter. I'll also be at the store. He said, no, it's not for you. A lot of buzz started happening around the family, around friends and circles where, every time I come back home from the office, from the showroom, my dad will be like, was this what for I made you study in the US? Was it so much of studying in the US? Was it for coming and sitting at a shop? You're not able to find yourself a job. That's why you're actually sitting at the shop. You're scared to go apply for jobs in the open market. So by the time, within 3 to 4 months, I quit my equity research job because I wanted to come into this full time,
Wow, so this is so different from, in a average Banya or a Marwari family. You hear something opposite. You would say, okay, there's a family business. Your grandfather started off as an accountant in this business, and then he went into wholesale.
Yeah.
You would imagine that, your son, who's there's a hotshot MBA from the US, would bring all the knowledge and take it places. It's very interesting. Never heard.
But my entire family is very contented. Nobody wants to take risk in life. My granddad had one store in 1958. He still has one store. The risk appetite in my family is zero. Okay, so they will not even break a red signal. They're so kind of worried with things. Okay.
Coming from a Gujarati Shah businessman family, no risk. While I buy
zero
that,
risk.
But there is a formula based on which you take risk, don't you?
Yeah, but there was nothing, zero risk. And I think I asked my granddad many a times. I said, where the hell have I got the genes from taking the risk? He's like, it's from my great grandfather. My great grandfather used to be a panchayat leader who basically gave up his business at that point in time in Gujarat and went and fought elections in the village. Okay.
Wow.
So he says that after him, it's only you who's basically, wanting to even think about building a business and stuff like that. Because my entire family is very, they call it dharmish, holy. Like my dad and mom go to the temple 3 times a day. My granddad spends half a day in the temple till date today. They don't eat after 6. Pure Jain, very kind of meticulous followers of the Jain principle in life. I mean, I'll tell you very surprising things also. If there's a black ant walking, my dad will say, stop, let the black ant cross. Otherwise, you'll kill it. So, Very, very contented in life. My mom's parents were basically like monks. They were basically teaching monks, So So it's just very traditional and very holy in my entire circle of family. I'm the odd one out.
Okay, so how long did this ping pong between your dad and you go on?
It more than a ping pong, it became more of very kind of an argument, and we basically got into a very dirty situation at that point in time, where I told him, look, I am going to be a part of this, so you have only one choice: sell it to me. I'm not walking out of it. Okay, so I bought out the store from my dad. He said, you don't even know the business. How are you going to, pay me out and stuff like that? I said, give me 2 years time. I'll pay you out the entire money. Because I didn't have any savings. What I had from my job was basically hardly 25,000 rupees of salary a month is what I used to get paid then. So he said, fine, if it's your call, then do it. But still, in spite of me kind of taking over the store, and, the store was called Venkateshwara Optics, very holy name. And the tagline to the store was Temple of Vision. Right? So you can imagine the kind of holiness that got into it. But I really loved the business. I really enjoyed the business. I enjoyed doing what I was doing. But every night you come home, you always have a tana, right? Your dad will ask you, what's the business today? And you'll be like, no, today was bad. He's like, I told you, you're not fit for it. You can't do anything about it. Basically, I thought that if you push a tiger to the corner, he springs back in double. And I was sometimes thinking that my dad is just trying to demotivate me a lot more, that either I break or I kind of spring back, But I think their nature was to kind of be demotivating, so that I go and try a job in the corporate world. So my classmates, my friends and all who were studying with me were like, they got jobs in Citibank, they got jobs in, like, at that point in time, in great companies of salaries of 75,000 upwards of 1 lakh. And my dad's like, what the hell are you doing? You're not worth, this is not what you are. You're just scared about going and working anywhere, and blah, 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 things started. So I always had a suitcase ready in my house that was packed for me to leave the house and go out. I was very kind of offended with my dad. He didn't really support me at any point in time for what I wanted to do. And I told him, look, if this is it, then, let me be myself and you be your way. If you think that you want me to step out of the house, I'm happy to step out. But then you have the motherly love coming in between and saying that, no, you're the only son, you can't do all this stuff. So then we parted ways, me and dad. We still live together, but we are not in business together, and we don't talk. We're not much in talking terms.
Even today?
Just we talk to each other, but nothing. It's not a father-son relationship. It's more of,
wow,
I respect him and take care of him, but it's just being under the roof. But I don't really. There is no connect. There is nothing that you can talk to him about or connect with him about. What will I talk to him? I don't even talk to him about what is current affairs or anything, because the thinking is so contented in life, right? And it's just that, okay, fine, he's there, I'm there, but we will live together, we enjoy living together and stuff like that. But there is nothing that there's no striking conversation that you can have with him. That's me personally. So that's the loss that I had in my life for kind of building a business. I would say
that's a real shaky start. It sounds like all of your emotional.
It was a very shaky start. It was very emotional to see that your parents are not supporting you, your granddad is not supporting you, the entire family says this is not the right time to be in the business, we made you study, being very worried and so when people worry you get all the more worried, right? That are you taking the right decision, right?
Right.
But that's okay. I mean, that's part of life, and that's the grind you have to go through in life to basically. I'm not telling people that you should not agree to your father and you will be successful. That might be 1 in a million that happens, because a lot of times when I do these sessions, a lot of students ask me, yeah, even my dad is not agreeing to what I want to do. So should I go against him? I'm like, no, it is different. It's not that if you start being a rebel at home, you'll be successful outside, right? You need to have patience.
Yeah, this false causality that people keep ascribing. It's like a friend and I, we study a lot of these business stories, and we would always say, if you study 10 Nobel laureates, and if all of them were bald, it is wrong to conclude that you need to be bald to be a Nobel laureate, right? That's a wrong causality. So this happens everywhere. Just because you disagreed with your dad and then went about doesn't mean that was a cause for success. It just happened to be one of the events that happened along the way.
He was more worried about my future. He was more worried about my future. He's like, boss, we don't have the money to basically let you start a second store also. We put in all our savings into the first store. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to scale up? There is so much of competition that's going to come in. At that point in time, you didn't have many brands, but there were brands coming in. I'm like, don't worry about it. When things happen, it'll happen. But obviously, I did not get the finances and the funding from what I wanted and what I wanted to do. So basically, I kind of tried to arrange my own funds. I still remember that my first funding came from my maid servant.
Wow.
Yeah. Why did it come from my maid servant? Because she's been with us for the last 10, 12 years. At that point in time, she sold one of her properties in Pondicherry. So she comes to me and says, hey, you know what? I have this 10 lakh of rupees. Can you help me invest this somewhere? I don't want to lose this money, but I want to give it to somebody who can pay me a basic interest cost so that, if I keep it at home, my husband is going to blow it off. Because you know how those servant related families are, right?
Right.
So I said, look, if you don't mind, can I borrow this 10 lakhs from you? And she's like, why would you want to borrow? For what? I said, I want to set up a shop.
Okay.
She's like, okay. I mean, I know you since I was small, she's been with us. So I said, okay, fine. I still owe her about 1,000 rupees just as a goodwill,
Okay.
I said, I've paid you everything, but 1,000 rupees is still owed by me.
Okay.
Because I still feel that you were the first person who kind of helped me out when I wanted to open. So I borrowed from her and borrowed from friends and family. Opened up my first store in 2007 under the name SpecsMakers,
So you did a brand makeover.
Yeah, that was another challenge in life, because when you're changing your store's name from what your dad gave to SpecsMakers, it was riots at home. You're like, how the hell did you change the name what I gave? You think that you're too smarter than what you're doing. You have no rights to change the name what I gave. It's such a good godly name, Venkateshwara Optics. You don't understand. You think you don't believe in God and all that stuff. All the blah, blah, blah went on. I said, I don't even talk to you. Why should I ask you anything about it? Right? He said, but still, if this is what it is, then, you should go your way. And it just got more messier.
Okay.
Right? But then, I said, look, this is what it is. You can't do anything about it. Right? I'm going ahead and I've changed the name and stuff like that. So basically, went on from being a second store, again learned from the business, learned completely what I'm doing and all that. So
the first store which your dad started, and from the funding from your maid servant, you started the second one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they were both in Chennai.
Both in Chennai. Yeah, absolutely in Chennai. Okay. It's a very different reasoning. When I was basically looking for a property for a second store, right? I was not able to find a great location. So I found this location that when you go to the temples, they give you this kind of prasadam, right?
Right.
They give it to you in a paper. So after I ate it in the paper, it was written, 750 square feet shop available in T Nagar. Okay.
Okay.
And I found that sometime in July of 2006, that paper. I called up the landlord. I told him, look, hey, I'm interested. Went and met the landlord. He said, no, I don't want to give it to you. You're just a single shop, I don't know how you will pay the rent and all that. Sorry, I cannot give it to you. And that landlord had put up an ad in the paper for the shop. So basically it was a newspaper, kind of a pamphlet that I got. Again, in the December of 2006, I got the same ad again. Because I go to the Tirupati temple quite often in T Nagar over here. I got the same ad again.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
and
the
again, so again I called him up and said, look, hey, I spoke to you in June. I'm in December and still your shop is not gone. And again, I'm seeing your ad in the paper. Why don't you meet me once? He said, okay, come meet me. Then I met him. I met his mother, convinced them that, look, hey, I want to take this shop very badly. They said, okay, fine, we'll give it to you. This is the rent, blah, blah. I just went ahead and immediately signed it up, So there was a blessing of Venkateshwara that came in another form, right? So I am an ardent believer of Lord Venkatesh, So I said I started off my first store under the name SpecsMakers, had 2 stores, had a lot of challenges moving from 1 store to 2 stores because you don't have any systems and processes. So I was like, okay, fine, we should be happy with 2 stores, not really do anything much about it. And but I thought, there's enough opportunity to build a larger business. Enjoyed doing what I was doing, opened up my 3rd store in 2009, and so my wife Sonal and ours is a love marriage. So she was basically working with ICICI. 2010 we got married. I kind of told her, look, ICICI is not going to pay you so much in life what I will give you 10 years later.
How did you find time for love in the midst of all this?
So, I mean, that's always the 1% of your life that is always needed, right? Yeah. So
was she a customer or?
No. Ours was more of a long distance love. So I was in US, she was in India. We met through a common friend, but first 4 years have been completely online only, thanks to your Yahoo messengers and your all that stuff. Then
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, we kind of had a very great journey of getting to marriage. A lot of backlash again from families. Saying that he's only having 1 shop. What is this? This is not the kind of person we want for you. But it all happens, right? In every family that you want to get married. But I said, yeah, fine. I got her into business in 2010. So we decided at that point in time, look, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to scale this business up large, or we can go a corporate ways very easily? You can still continue being in the corporate world. You can take that comfort, I can take the risk. So like, no, we'll probably see what we can do together. I think that was one of a very large support after a very long time in life that came in full time. And she basically was handling the entire back end. I was more on the strategy, building the business, thinking about ideas and stuff like that. So I said, okay, let's try and give it a shot. So one fine day I decide, okay, we are 3 stores now and we are going to franchise out now. Everything was, that time the world was around franchising, right? So you appoint consultants and you pay money to consultants and do all what you have to do for basically wanting to build your store. Opened up my first franchisee in 2009 and shut it down in 3 months.
Okay. Wow, what happened?
Well, you got the wrong franchise partner.
Okay.
So you have a franchise partner who claimed that this is his property and he is paying rent and all that. We didn't check that he's not paid rent for the last 5 years. So he had an eviction notice.
Oh.
And I was shocked to see that. But that's okay. Happens. Learn from mistakes. Was not a very expensive mistake for us because we didn't really put in a lot of capital. I still remember the time when, I had to basically, so how do I fund my business? When you're just 3 stores, you're not like making a lot of money, but you basically want to, so because I was not supported by family, I spent on my own wedding, me and Sonal didn't even take a break after our wedding. It is after 2 to 3 years of our wedding that we actually even went on a break, So that's the kind of sacrifices that we made, and but that's how it is. And I still realize that
you're lucky to have a spouse like that. It is very rare to have a partner.
But the difference is you don't do once, but you pay for lifetime. Now I have to go every year for a vacation. Yeah. So your one time of missing the vacation is costed you another 50 years of vacation, right?
Right.
Yeah. So basically, spending on a wedding is very, very expensive, right? Especially a Gujarati wedding. At that point in time, had a wedding, spent on buying a car, stuff like that. So I had lot of personal debt which was on credit cards, right? Because you have to keep paying the credit card companies that the cost of borrowing is very expensive. I still remember going and standing in the line early in the morning at ICICI Bank and depositing the cash to actually pay out my checks and my credit card bills and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a part and parcel of your growth story. You always get bootstrapped and then you actually want to go forward. I decided, okay, fine. Now I want to expand from here. You go talk to banks with a business plan. They don't give you debt because you don't have a collateral. So I keep telling the bank, sir, if you give me debt, I'll build a business and build a collateral to give you a collateral. But if you ask me a collateral before starting a business, how do I give you? Like, boss, we need collateral. What if you run away with the money? I said, okay, so that's not going to work. Absolutely. Started talking to franchisee people, but I was too offended after the first franchisee failed. So I said, no more franchising. Went and spoke to a lot of friends and family as to what can be done for the business. No support absolutely anywhere. Till 2010, 11, built it from 3 stores, then 1 more store, then 1 more store, then 1 more store, and built it to about a solid network of 8 to 10 stores. I was really pitching in, and at that point in time is when somebody told me there's something called angel investors. So I never knew what's an angel investor, to be honest. So I look at what do you mean angel investor? Somebody coming from the sky and giving you money? I never knew even a term like angel investing existed. And,
seriously, you're in equity research and angel investing.
I never knew angel investing. Yeah, I knew there is investors, there is VC, there is PE. But I never knew that this concept existed ever, because then I understood that these are people who basically invest out of their personal capacity. But I wasn't too interested in doing that, So basically I was introduced to a fund,
Okay.
And I think I met the fund in the year 2011 end. I met them, I created a business plan and gave them. The fund took about a year's time to actually decide to invest, and I was getting really frustrated. But then I happened to meet this another who's a very close friend now and an investor named Ashwin. And he really liked my idea and my passion and my business. And I told him, look, he asked me that, why do you want to dilute and, kind of do up a business? You can still own the business 100% and be with 3-4, whatever stores you're having, about 8-10 stores. I said, my logic is very simple. You don't create a business to make money. You create a business to grow it that makes money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your concept is very simple. Do you want to be 100% owner of a 1 crore business?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or a 1% owner of a 100 crore business.
Mm-hmm.
For me, both are same.
Mm-hmm. That's what Ashwin said.
I said, that's my view.
Okay.
I said, my view is, so people always have this question, right? Why dilute? Why do you want to keep diluting? Why do you want to keep giving shares to investors and all that? I said, boss, if I'm going to grow a business, I rather have 10% of a 1,000 crore business than have 100% of a 10 crore business. For me, both are same. Okay?
Right.
And it doesn't matter what and how much you own it. It is about you creating job opportunities, employment, opportunity for vendors, shareholders, stakeholders. You have to enjoy doing the business. It's not about this is my business or I want to own it. I never had that mentality. I mean, growing from a single store to whatever you want to grow in life, you cannot be greedy about it. And that's one thesis that I always follow. So I think I kind of was able to convince the fund and the investors and said, look, hey, I want to take this to a larger scale and I need support. And they were kind of very passionate and very aggressive about my entire strategy. And I struck a thin line over there and, I kind of was able to convince them. And I got my first round of investment for about 3 crores in the year 2014, and that was a great move. I did not tell anybody at home, at family, my wife's family, nobody. We just told everybody that we've taken debt from the bank, because you don't want to expose things about, taking money outside because people get worried and stuff like that. But yeah, I think my journey of getting my first investment then and starting and scaling up the business was successful. I went on growing the business from 14 to 25 to 50 to 100 to 300, it is a very different ball game altogether because when you have investors in your company, it is not about your company anymore. It's a larger responsibility. People think the other way around that if there is investor money, it is easy. But I think it is more responsibility and more pressure to see to it that their monies are given great returns, because you have to trust that end of the day, it is not about you borrowing money. It is about you sharing wealth and sharing the business. You can't take risks. So when people ask me, what is the biggest challenge that you said that you see when you run a business? To not make foolish mistake, to have 1,000 people lose their jobs. You don't want to be that even one person greedy today. And I tell everybody, don't try to be greedy in business where your existing vendors, stakeholders and employees lose their job, because you can always survive, but they are dependent on you end of the day and they have families to run. So that's where it's very, very important.
So we went through that 10 stores to 300 stores in a like a teraflop kind of a speed. So let's slow down a bit.
Yeah.
So you raised 3 crores. At that point in time, you had only how many stores did you have? 10 stores?
9 stores.
9 stores, and they were all owned by you.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, completely.
Okay, and this investment you see as an inflection point.
The investment was an inflection point. Yes, that was the first inflection point in my life.
So how did that change the playbook? How did that change the trajectory? And what sort of decisions did you make after that?
So it is purely that, you either want to open 1 store a year. It's not that you cannot open multiple stores a year. Yeah, by the time we came to 9 stores, we had set up our foundation and processes very strongly. We believed in our principles, We believed in completely doing things the right way, paying your taxes, doing things in official way and everything. Because till date, a lot of opticians don't do that, right? The independent mom and pop stores. But I was like, I need to sleep peacefully at night, whatever it takes. So from the time of getting an investment, how did we change, me and Sonal? Our change came in more like we became more responsible because we understood that we can make this larger. We never thought at any point in time that this is going to be this large. We thought we will take this to 25-30 stores in Chennai. We will be very happy with that. It is like every time you go to a particular goal, the goalpost moves forward, right? And
so
it is not with
where you are right now.
So
where you are right now, you still have a lot of growth to accomplish that you can. I'm sure you see that.
So it's always a changing goalpost for me from now.
Right. But from where you started when you raised that 3 crore investment, you've already grown beyond your wildest dreams.
No, dream is much more larger. Now the dream is much more larger. Why should I dream small now?
The dream that was then, not now.
The dream was 25 stores.
Right. So
as I said, as you
10 times over.
As you become an entrepreneur, you don't have a goalpost. It's a moving goalpost.
Right.
The day you decide that, so I always believe in this one thing. The day you feel that you're successful is the beginning of your failure.
We have a lot in common, Pratik. I have to definitely say that. Yeah, the day you think, a friend of mine used to say, and I say that too, the only place where it says you have arrived is in your GPS.
Yeah.
And the day you start thinking that you have arrived in your life, that's the beginning of the end, right?
Yeah.
So that's
So
what I
the day
ardently share as
the
well.
day you feel that you are successful is the beginning of your failure. Success should never get into your mind; it should get into your heart.
Yeah, yeah. So then, what was essentially a possibly a sole proprietor driven chain of stores became a professional organization. How did what were some of the changes you had to make? Obviously, hiring, culture, these things. While you might have the foundational processes in place, it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
What were those?
So basically, when I was, in the process of, raising the first angel round and then going into institutional investment and meeting a lot of investors, one investor asked me a very simple question. Pratik, I really love your business model. You and Sonal have built it very well. Hats off to you guys. You're at about some 45, 50 stores of network. Great job done. You guys are traveling in a flight and the flight crashes. Who takes care of the business? I was awestruck by that because you did not build a leadership team under you.
Right.
The beginning of a success comes with a team. It is not about me. I still don't call myself successful. I call my people successful.
Right.
It's you have to agree to it that it is not a one man's job. It is a vision of one man coupled with a lot of hard work from a lot of leadership team and people. Right? You cannot say that I build the business. I always say we build the business.
True that.
Just because you are in the front end of it, it doesn't work that way. You need to build a team under you that basically has a vision that matches with your vision. If you can't build a team under you that matches with your vision, you have the wrong team. Accept it. Not that your vision is wrong. It's just the team is wrong. So I went on building a team. You basically have to trust your people, give them the leverage. Mistakes happen. Shit happens. It's okay. You should be able to understand how much risk you want to take. 20% risk is allowed. Okay. 20% mistakes are allowed in life. No problem. We will correct it and make it 10, but 20 will never become 30, right? Because you learn from your mistake. So built a leadership team under me, myself, and Sonal. And I think from there on, we decided that everybody's vision to be that you want to be a 5,000, 10,000 store company. India is huge. Everybody needs glasses. You're selling affordable glasses. Why can't people buy from you, right? So, and that was one of the second inflection points when this investor asked me, if you are traveling and you kind of get knocked down by a car or your flight crashes, my money goes down the drain, right? Because I'm dependent on you. I don't want to be dependent on you. You have to have a team. And that was the right way to explain. And I started building a team. And that was another inflection point in life when you start hiring the right team. I don't go by just hiring people out of resumes. People have to spend some time with me, a couple of weeks before they actually get to know me. It's more than I wanting to work with you. You should want to work with me, right?
Right.
It's not about you got a job. It's about, do you want to work with Pratik and team? I'm a very frugal guy. I don't have very fancy offices. I don't spend unnecessarily on things that don't add value. I always have a thinking, why should I spend in my office, which is not going to impact my customer at the front end? I'll spend in the showroom, right?
Right.
Because that's your cash cow. This is only your expense.
Right.
So I don't believe in people spending in fancy offices, spending things out of the way. I never spend like that. I would still prefer spending in places where it is absolute need. Even if a fan will do, a fan will do. You don't need any air conditioning. I'm very frugal that way.
So around this 2010, 2011 timeframe, when you began the investing or the angel investing journey, that's when Warby Parker in the US got founded. In effect, they actually showed that you could take a very, very boring industry like opticals and actually make it look exciting and take it truly online.
Yeah.
Did Warby Parker and everything that happened, and eventually Lenskart in India, did any of those things play into what you were thinking about this industry?
Never. I knew Warby Parker started in 2010. Lenskart, Bagskart, Watchkart, and Jewelskart started in 2011 and odd. I am a roti kapda makan guy. I believe in physical stores, in consumers, in retail. I was never an e-commerce guy, especially for the domain that I operate in. I still respect what Flipkart and Amazon and all have done. That's a product that can be sold online. But I never believed in saying that something that is non-measurable by size can be actually sold online.
Okay. Something that can't be standardized.
Exactly. You cannot sell it online. And that was my entire thesis from day one. I never played the valuation game. I was never behind valuations. I know at that point in time, from 2013 to 2016, India was on a valuation drive, right?
Right.
It is like not how much business you're doing, how much are you burning? That's more important to the investor.
Right.
I still remember, I can't take names, we're meeting one of the investors and he said that, hey, you have 50, 60 stores. I'll fund you. I'll put in another 50 crores. Convert yourself into e-commerce. I said, thank you. If I don't know Spanish, I cannot teach Spanish. So I'm a brick and mortar guy, which is consumer. If you believe in me and my story, invest. Don't make me do things which I don't believe in, because your money will anyway go down the drain. So I really respect for what you want to do, but this is not me where I want to change just because you want me to change.
Yeah, well, you said a couple of things about the investors part, right? So there is definitely a responsibility, and it doesn't come easy.
It is a very large responsibility. It is more than anybody else. It is a trust factor.
Yeah, and it's important to have investors that understand your business, understand what you're doing.
Every investor wants to double, triple, and quadruple their money. No doubt about it. But
right.
Everything comes with time. The more time, the more compounded the money gets. Right?
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
No question.
If you want to double in 2 years, that's possible, but the risk of making it zero is also possible, right?
Right.
So, and any consumer business today is all about wait and watch, and retail is all about detail. It is not about just opening a store anywhere. It takes a lot of third-party analysis, a lot of thinking into where I want to open. And I'm not a tech guy. I don't believe I have the acumen for tech. I don't understand tech at all. Because I have never written a program in my life. All that I've written is, maybe a program in C or C++. That's it. That too, how to find your birthday or something would have been the best I would have written. But I have never ever done programming logic in my life. So I believe that my strength lies in being a very roti kapda makan kind of a guy, understanding retail, understanding consumer, I spend a lot of time with my consumers. I still call up my consumers on a weekly basis, at least 20 or 30 of them randomly, and ask them, hey, this is the CEO speaking. Do you have any feedback for me? I don't want to know the good things. Tell me the bad things.
How have they surprised you?
So they tell that your delivery took time, your staff was not wearing a uniform. I thought the store air conditioning was not working. Very lame reasons. But even that's important to me. It's about store experience. And when somebody complains about that store, I take that staff on conference. I say, this customer has a complaint. See to it next time that doesn't happen. And see, when you're having a retail business, you're having 1,000 employees, you can't have everybody standardized, right? They're not robots. And everybody's got a family. They must have had some family argument at home and come to the work. And they will not have a great mood that day. Then there'll be a grumpy customer who comes in. Then they'll get you into an argument. First, support your employees also. Respect your customers, support your employees. Because if you don't support your employees, then, as I told you, the 5 pies of your entire business have to be responsible towards your shareholders, support towards your employees, and respect for your customers is very important. If you feel that you're going to you just sold a product to the customer and are happy about it one time, if you're happy, he's never going to come back to you again. See to it that you respect them and respect the time they've taken to come to you. I keep telling my staff the same thing. Never make a customer feel bad. Even if you have to give it back to them free, it's not the end of the world. I remember I used to work in the delivery section of Walmart during my internship in college, where Walmart has a policy of 90-day return, right?
Right.
So I remember college students at that point in time, especially Desis, when they call, we will buy home theaters and all during the summer vacation, and just before fall begins, go return it back.
Right.
That's the success of Walmart, right? Customer service. You can't do anything about it.
The economics of that industry is structured in such a way that Walmart still makes money after that return, right?
But leave the economics aside. Only 10% people come back with that. The balance 90 are happy.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So the margins, the way the pricing is structured, all adds up to the fact that you could still do all of these things and still keep a viable business. And
yes, because it's all about the customer wanting to come back to you. If not, use somebody else.
That is right. Yeah. And the American playbook is vastly different from the Indian playbook. We manage for exceptions. They manage for mainstream traffic. That's the fundamental difference, right? And we manage exceptions to the T. I see that everywhere. And even today, but that is slowly changing. When you're talking to, the product that I'm building right now, when I talk to the product team, the product is like, okay, what if we get this transaction? I say that's an outlier. Do not solution and think for an outlier. What if the outlier brings the business down? They say. I said, okay, we'll think about that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to. But right now, let us not solution everything around an outlier. That's the wrong way to think about the business.
Never think about a broken bridge until you've arrived at the broken bridge.
Right.
Because there will be some pathway you can cross it over.
So, your you're in Tamil Nadu, you're in Andhra Pradesh. Outside of some of the usual things, what have you discovered about the Indian consumer, the Indian market? How are the folks in the smaller cities different than the larger cities? Are they more demanding? Are they less demanding? In what ways has the market surprised you?
The rich and the famous want the most affordable products.
That's interesting.
I'll say India is all about Sundar, Sasta and Tikau. Right? It should be good, it should be durable, and it should not be expensive. The biggest bargainers in life in India are the people who have more money.
Okay.
And that's the reason they have more money, right?
Yes. They know how to get a better deal out of practically everything.
Absolutely. And there's nothing. Indian consumer always looks for value for money. VFM is the way Indian consumer looks at. Okay. Even a millionaire today has a Jio connection. Not that he cannot afford anything else. Why?
Right.
Because he feels that the free mein mil raha hai to main kyun nahi lu?
Yeah.
He will buy another Apple phone, but he'll take the SIM card which is free.
Okay.
Right? That's the Indian consumer for you. They are very, very, very passionate about what did I get more out of this company.
True. You need to get a feeling that I got something for nothing at some point.
Exactly. I got something better than what I would have got.
Right.
Let it be value, let it be extra service, let it be anything. Right? If they go to a 5-star hotel, they want an extra bottle of water, even though there are 2 bottles kept, because that's the Indian consumer. They always want something, and I appreciate that because this is where we value money. We don't throw money.
We all had a scarcity at some point in time in our life, so that's possibly what drives us to do that. Maybe.
Not at all. Not only scarcity. It is about the Aryan culture. It is about the Indian people. We always have been demanding.
True. So,
we have always been people who demand service, demand value, and it's right. Why is it wrong? Why not? Because just because you have the money, you don't have to splurge it.
Yeah, true that.
It's only the fewer people who don't realize the value of money keep spending money like nobody.
Right. So along this scale journey, which has still got several places to go, what have been some frustrating moments? What have been some frustrating moments? So
the basic frustrating moments when you actually want to scale up and grow is basically at points in time when you want to take a decision but you're not too sure about it and you're taking the wrong decision knowing in hindsight this is a wrong decision because you just want to grow. See, at point in times you have a target that you want to open up another 100 stores this year, right? What if you're not getting the right location for the first 2-3 months, right? It's like out of the tail ender batsman, right, who has to hit a 6 of that over but it's not getting the right ball but tries to go hit the wrong ball and get out. So we have taken decisions like that where we've gone ahead and like, boss, dukaan kholna hai, let's take a risk. 20% ka hai na apne paas leeway. You know it's a risk. You're going and taking it, but you're just trying to increase your count by store. And that's frustrating because you're running behind store count and not by your decision making.
And you've done that.
You've done that because you wanted to basically say that, look, hey, I've arrived. I want to be like 30 stores, 40 stores, and you don't have to do that. Your team has to do that and you have to still support them, right? Because if you don't support them, they lose morality. They're like, maybe the company doesn't want to expand. They're not letting us expand. At times that your team is going to make a mistake, but you have to still have a smile on your face and say, okay, go do it. See, it's very difficult for you to always keep telling no to your team.
Right.
As a CEO, it's very difficult for you to always only pointing out the mistakes. You also have to at times let go of things for them to even understand that was a mistake. And that is very expensive sometimes on your front because it was a mistake, but you let it happen. Like a mother lets a kid fall because she wants the kid to get hurt and realize that was the wrong way to walk or run.
Right.
And that's a frustrating point. As CEOs, you have to let that happen and you can't help it. It's a part and parcel of business.
So at any point in time, did you feel like at any point in time, did it ever feel like this was all going to fall apart?
No. I never let the business lose its sheen from me because I don't follow the pyramid system of how companies follow where the CEO sits at the top and there is a middle layer and bottom layer sitting at the bottom. I follow the Chakra system where I basically am at the center and there are circle of people around me and everybody can communicate with me whatever hierarchy they are in. So today even a new staff joining in one of my 275th store has access to my mobile number and my email. And I still talk to them one-on-one whenever they call me up. It's not that talk to your area manager, talk to your regional manager, don't talk to me. No, I am involved very much with the people. I'm a people guy.
Interesting.
So I get involved with the people a lot. The reason I get involved is because they should see that vision in you. It's not a structured business where gaadi badaya or bagaya, right? They have to be motivated. They have to feel happy that yes, if there's anything tomorrow wrong in our lives, there is Sir to take care of us, right?
So this, so if somebody had to start a brick and mortar business similar to what you've done, what would you tell them? If somebody was contemplating doing something similar, what would you tell them? 1,000
days. Any store takes 1,000 days for you to realize if it's right or wrong.
Interesting.
You need to have patience in retail. It's not about e-commerce. It's not about just flying off the shelf. If it flew off the shelf, it's lucky. You can't get lucky every time. At least first 1 year, you need to have the patience and let the seed grow. You're sowing seeds right now. They will grow over a period of time. It takes time. Retail is all about detail. So retail works on 5 P's. It's product, price, promotion, place, and people. If your product is right, your price is right, and your promotions are right, it's solved. Your people and place are the 2 things. If you have the very best place and the wrong people, it's a failure. Right. You have a bad place and the best people might still be a failure. So try experimenting with your stores if you feel they're not doing right by basically turning around the place or the people. So first I always tell my people, if a store is not doing good, I put my best foot forward over there and say, okay, my best staff is going to go handle the store for a couple of months. And if it still fails, I know it's a place problem, not a people problem. And give yourself patience. Retail is about patience. It's not that overnight business. This is not e-commerce. This is not .com. And
even the .coms, I think, contrary to what the media will have us believe, all of them have had several years of growth, and this is part of what I keep saying, revisionist history. People keep changing their founding years just so that you feel that they became successful, in 2 to 3 years. If you read Sam Walton's, I think Made in America, when Walmart started getting noticed, somebody asked Walmart, "Oh gosh, you look like an overnight success story." He said so, and Sam Walton quips saying, "Yes, an overnight success story which took 20 years to get to."
You see the largest retail brands in the world, they are at least 30-40 years old.
Right.
Tell me one retail brand today that would have become famous overnight, but it would have been in inceptions for the last 20 years at least. You take Mr. Kishore Biyani, he's a veteran retailer for ages. You're getting to know him now. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody knew Alibaba till 2012 and 13. It is there since 1997.
Yeah. Same with Paytm.
Yeah. Nobody knows what goes into building the entire tunnel for the business, and then they only see the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't see actually how deep the tunnel is.
Absolutely.
So it all comes by patience. You need to have patience. If entrepreneurs don't have patience, I don't think then they should not call themselves entrepreneurs.
At what point in time would you say, okay, patience is one thing, but you also need to see how the market is moving, and surprising
you need to have complete knowledge about the market that you're operating in. If this is not a boardroom business, retail, if you're going to sit in your conference room and say, "Ki boss, I know everything and I am the best over here," you're finished. I spend 3 out of 5 days at the field, visiting stores, meeting customers, meeting people. So even if I'm going in the airport, if I see a person wearing glasses, I ask them, where did you buy it? Why did you buy it? Okay. What decided you to buy? I get information. Knowledge is free. Take how much ever you want.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Take care of your customers and users. That'll, if you know them well,
first understand users so that they can become your customer.
Yeah.
Understand what the user wants. Yeah. Right? Very, very important in today's world. What is the pain point they are having? Maybe that you can implement in your company tomorrow.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. So, Pratik, if you had to do it all over again, would you change anything?
Nothing.
I've very rarely heard that.
Yeah. I would have changed nothing because I have slowly built what I have built. People ask me, why didn't you go the e-commerce way? I would never would have stepped into e-commerce because that's not my strength.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me that, you have another player coming in e-commerce, you can get better valuations if you're e-commerce. I am not worried about what's getting cooked in the other kitchen. I have to see what I'm going to eat at the end of the day.
So you're here for a 30-year marathon. That's what you want to build a legacy.
There is no timeline. I want to pass this business on to my employees, to my leadership team and everybody as long as they can handle it.
So So then that gives me a feeling that there's possibly a larger legacy angle behind this as well. What you got excited by retail now looks like maybe there are larger goals.
No, as I said, the goalpost is always moving.
Right.
So
right.
So I'll tell you the kind of sacrifice that we would have made. Me and Sonal have made sacrifice in such a way that we didn't even want to go the family way just because we want to devote our entire time to them.
Wow. This is family.
Yeah.
This is family.
You don't want to have a legacy. You don't want to create something for saying that, I created it. It's we created it. You're just a front runner. Right. It's an Indian team. Earlier Dhoni was the captain. Now Virat Kohli is the captain. That's it.
So what's your advice for Maharajas of Scale listeners who are just starting out?
As I told you, have patience. Build a business. Don't run a business. Build it to run. Don't run behind it to build. Don't do anything that you can get overnight success. Maybe 1 in a million people get lucky. If you're the lucky one, that's good, but otherwise you will get doomed. And then the first failure of a startup should never be considered failure. That should be a learning. If you failed once, get up, try again, fail twice, fail thrice, fail until you succeed. It's okay. There's no harm in failing.
Awesome.
And don't risk yourself so much that your family tomorrow is in trouble.
Don't bet the farm.
Don't bet the farm.
Never.
Never do something where your family is in trouble tomorrow. They are your stakeholders also.
So beyond SpecsMakers, what's the real Pratik like?
So I am a very kind of, avid, passionate browser. I love to party on my Saturday nights. I love to kind of hang out with a lot of friends. We are all friends which are very close to each other since school. Spend a lot of time kind of visiting malls, not to shop, but to understand what people shop.
Mm-hmm.
I spend pretty much my Sunday evenings visiting malls, understanding what consumers take, going and talking to retail employees at stores, which is non-optical also. Like I will walk into an Aldo, Charles & Keith, Marks & Spencer, ask the customer what customer wants, how was the end of season sale, how do you think the sale is moving, what is impacting. Knowledge, keep gathering a lot of knowledge. Wow. I really love to do that. I'm a pro retail guy, and my second part is I love to work on analytics. I am hands-on with my Tableau always. I keep opening my Tableau before I go to sleep or whatever. Not to look at what my business is doing, but just I love to analyze data.
So what have been some interesting things you have found both through this offline research and this data?
Interesting things as in for the business or as a person?
Anything, something that has totally surprised you.
I think what surprised me, I don't have anything off the head that I can think of at the moment, but I think at times you see that there is a bit of a pilferage in the industry, which is about less than 1% or 2%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Inform your employees. Pilferage is good to happen, but the management also knows it's happening. So ask if you have to get something. Don't try to say that you can bypass the process. So I always also get into those. I always put myself into the employee shoes and see that अगर मेरे को management को bypass करना है तो मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? Always try to think from the employee's angle. Never portray yourself as a CEO in front of the employee. Be a part of them. Be one among them, not above them. Never.
Any interesting insights on the customers themselves from the data and all your research?
So yeah, customers basically, are kind of customers who come to us when I talk to them, when I do a kind of feedback call with them and all that, they're like, our customers are very humble. They're kind of very, very upright about what they want to tell. They were earlier going to their mom and pops opticians and all that. So they're very vocal about what they talk, and which is very good, So I had a customer yesterday whom I spoke to who's, so he had an eye prescription done from an eye doctor and he got his glasses done with us. So we made it as per the eye doctor, but unfortunately there was a wrong mistyping of the prescription by the... Yeah, so we told him, okay, so don't worry, we will replace it free of cost free. So you have to understand where your customer is coming from. It's hard-earned money of 2,000 rupees which he spent. So, you have to accept your mistakes even if it is not your mistake in retail, because customers always want that comfort factor with you. And I keep telling my employees the same thing.
I have to agree with that, and the amount of goodwill that creates is phenomenal.
Because, so I always measure lifetime value, LTV, right?
Yeah, I think when we start looking at many the human angle sometimes, that's when intangibles come out of that, right?
Yeah.
It also becomes a good business decision. You don't do it just for good business. I have to narrate this incident that happened in the UK. I was recently traveling. I was in London. There's a restaurant called Dishum. It's an Indian restaurant. I think they have 5 branches across London. And you won't believe me, there's a 1.5 hour waiting line
Uh-huh.
to actually get a seat at the bar.
Oh.
Okay. After you get to the bar, there's another half an hour wait time till you get a table.
Oh.
All right. So it's an Indian restaurant, highly in high demand. I went to 2 of those locations. The very first one that I went to in central London, it so happened that we were ordering a bunch of things, and I didn't notice vada pav on the menu.
Oh.
I didn't notice pav bhaji on the menu, and it was in a specific box, and there was vada pav. And I thought maybe, hey, you know what? This fancy restaurant possibly has a different take on vada pav. It looks like pav bhaji. I ordered vada pav, and he brought me vada pav, and it wasn't pav bhaji.
Okay.
And I told this guy, hey, you know what? I ordered pav bhaji by mistake, vada pav by mistake. I actually wanted pav bhaji. He took that vada pav back, didn't charge me for it, and brought me the pav bhaji. I had a terrific experience. And so, that day I made a note, room for genuine customer mistakes. When a business can have room for genuine customer mistakes, because I'm not trying to get something out of nothing there.
Yeah.
It was a mistake. I could have paid the price for it, but instead, they decided to, take care of it. And, here you go. I'm talking to you about it, and I've also written a review about it, and I'm thrilled. Any business that takes into account that sort of thing, will always have a customer for life.
Happens. Yeah. Always. That's there.
Well, Pratik, it's been fantastic chatting with you. Amazing journey. And after all of the growth that you've seen, has your dad ever come back and said, maybe I was wrong about it? Have you ever had that conversation?
Oh yeah, yes. So earlier, since we had the kind of a debacle of not getting into and talking and stuff like that, I think he's kind of understood that yes, there is something that he's happy about, and he speaks to me. But it's just that it's that disconnect that never allows you to connect, right?
Yeah.
It's that disconnect that never allows. See, had you told me one time it's going to be a failure, fine. But the argument went prolonging for months and years.
One stone can't be put back together perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Terrific. You have your fundamentals right. You have your basics right. I think you're building this the right way. We are certain SpecsMakers will go places. And,
sure, thank you.
It was great to have you on the show.
Thanks, Krishna. Appreciate it.
We hope you enjoyed this story. If this story made a difference to you, tell us by leaving a comment on the website or our social media channels. Help us spread the love by subscribing, liking, and sharing our show. We welcome speaker suggestions and collaborations. Write to me at nida@maharajasofscale.com.